Yes, guys, welcome back to another daily transfer video. This is 3 days on a row, so I'm going to call this a daily video now. I'm doing well on this one. Let's get straight into it, guys. Bayern Munich are discussing a move for Manchester City and England fullback Kyle Walker. We obviously discussed this on City Extra yesterday. This has come as a bit of a surprise to me, guys, to be honest with you. Because if you look at Kyle Walker's running, he did play quite a lot of matches. He played 13 out of the last 18 Premier League games and featured in every single one all but one. He played in the quarter-final, semi-final and the final of the FA Cup. He played in both semi-finals against Real Madrid and just didn't start the Champions League final. So there's a bit of a myth going around that he didn't really play a lot of football. He was our 12th most played player across the whole squad and our 3rd most played defender. I'm quite surprised that he wants to leave, man, and this is going to be tricky, man, because he's a top player. I still think he's one of the best fullbacks in world football. We'll have to see if this develops, but yeah, not good news. Chelsea have agreed personal terms with Villarreal's Senegal striker Nicolas Jackson, who's 21, has a release clause of 35 million euros. That's 30 million quid. That's from The Athletic. I heard about this last night. Don't really know too much about him, to be honest with you, but of course we know that Chelsea did need a striker. I think they were linked yesterday with Lautaro Martinez. I think that was a bad move, so they've gone for Nicolas Jackson, and let's see if you guys know anything about Nicolas Jackson. Let me know. Manchester United are being offered the chance to sign £80 million rated Portugal striker Gonçalo Ramos from Benfica. Know a little bit about this guy, watched him a few times. 80 million quid, that's obviously quite a lot of money, especially for a 21-year-old. They do need a striker. They're not going to sign him though, guys, because if they're going to sign him for 80 million quid, they go and get Harry Kane. So that's that. We can move on. Chelsea have turned down an opening bid from Arsenal for Kai Havertz, but talks are continuing, and the Germany forward, who's 24, is keen on a move. That's from the Telegraph. I mean, yeah, I can understand why he's keen on a move. Chelsea are a complete mess, aren't they? And yeah, Arsenal obviously in the Champions League. But again, as we said yesterday, do Arsenal really need Kai Havertz? I'm not too sure. I don't think it's the right move. Apparently, though, Bayern Munich have also now joined the race. I think that is a good move for him and for Bayern Munich. You know, whether or not Kai Havertz does well or not at Bayern Munich, he will still do well. You know, Bayern Munich will still win the league next year, with or without Havertz. So I think it's probably a good move for him. I think he needs to go back to Germany, and I think Bayern Munich will be a good move for him. PSG will no longer be hiring former Bayern manager Julian Nagelsmann as their new manager after both parties decided to call off the move. I didn't even know this was happening, to be honest with you guys. So this is news to me. That's from L'Equipe. In France, you know, Nagelsmann's still without a football club. Of course, there was loads of rumours that he might have gone Chelsea, Tottenham, apparently PSG, which I missed, which is why I like doing these transfer streams. But yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Arsenal are looking at a move for Southampton midfielder Romeo Lavia, but faced competition from Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United for the 19-year-old. Well, yeah, he's going to go somewhere, really. Lavia is not going to stay at Southampton. He's going to get a move, probably to a top 6 club. And who is it who's going to be for him? I think, if I had to guess, they need a DM. Fabinho ain't it anymore. And, you know, you could probably still play with Fabinho this year and have Lavia as a sort of backup and get him in there. If I was Liverpool, I'd be all over that move. Barcelona have made Ilkay Gundogan their priority signing this summer and have stepped up their pursuit of the German midfielder who is out of contract at Manchester City by offering him an improved 3-year deal, also from The Athletic. That, yeah, I mean, again, Ilkay Gundogan out of contract now at Manchester City. He's not staying at City, guys. I just don't see it. I'd love him to stay, I really would, but we've signed in Kovacic. We're apparently interested in Rice. We're not signing him, guys. We're not re-signing him. He's going to go. He's going to go to Barcelona. David De Gea looks set to leave Manchester United in the summer with the Spanish goalkeeper contract talks at Old Trafford looking bleak. This is from the Mirror, and this is quite interesting actually because this is sort of the first time I've really seen much about David De Gea potentially not staying at United now. I think that maybe Ten Hag and maybe the board have felt the backlash from the Manchester United fans about David De Gea staying. And not getting a new number one, and I think they backtracked. And actually, I think it's a good thing because they definitely need a new goalkeeper. And it's curtains for David De Gea. Where's he going to go? Swedish winger Dejan Kulusevski, who's 23, will turn his loan move from Juventus to Tottenham into a permanent transfer after the two clubs agreed a fee of £25 million. That's from 90 minutes. This is an interesting one because a lot of people have been saying, oh, if Mahrez leaves, could potentially we get Dejan Kulusevski at City. I'm a little bit not sure. I think his stocks are a little bit low after the season that he's just had at Spurs. Maybe not necessarily his fault, of course. Spurs were abysmal. But it's a good signing for Tottenham and a little bit of positivity. That's obviously if he stays there. Manchester City on the brink of completing a deal worth around £34 million to sign Croatian midfielder Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea. That's from ESPN and many, many other sources. This is a great move. Let me just say something, yeah? I think it's a great move if he's been brought in as a rotational player. If he's been brought in as you're going to start week in, week out, I'm a little bit more like, that ain't great. But if he's been brought in as a rotational player, 29 years old, he's in his peak, he's played over 100 times for Real Madrid, 100 times for Inter Milan, 200 times for Chelsea, 100 times for Croatia, he's won Champions Leagues, brilliant experience for 34 million quid. Brilliant. Brighton are looking for a fee of £100 million for Chelsea for Ecuador midfielder Moises Caicedo. That again is from The Athletic. We spoke to Dan Potts on the City Extra channel yesterday about Declan Rice, but he did go in a little bit about Caicedo, and we spoke and said it's not looking like Arsenal are moving for this guy now. Chelsea are going to be moving for him. Are they going to be playing him right back? Because that's where Reece James plays, and then inverting him into midfield, or will he just play in midfield? If he does play in midfield, what will Chelsea's midfield look like going into next season? I don't know. Chelsea have almost reached personal agreement with personal terms with Caicedo. That's from Fabrizio. So that's sounding like that's pretty much done then. PSG are now interested in signing Bernardo Silva and have opened talks with the Portugal winger's agent, but Manchester City do not want to sell the 28-year-old. That's from Nicolo Schura. I mean, we know City don't want to sell Bernardo Silva. Why would we? But if he wants to leave, the bid comes in, he's leaving. That's City's sort of mantra. And we've said for the last month or two that if he does leave, it will be to PSG. There's no other club that's going to bid the money. And I think that he's going to go. I think it'll be 60, 70 million quid. Maybe City could try and push it a little bit because it is PSG. But I think his time at Manchester City is now up. And I think Bernardo Silva will leave the football club, unfortunately. Spain international Martin Zubimendi is top of Barcelona's manager Xavi's list of targets but for the defensive midfielder in his side, with the 24-year-old having a release clause of €60 million at Real Sociedad. That's on Mundo Deportivo. This is actually quite interesting because a few people, when we've been speaking about Calvin Phillips in streams about saying, oh, is Calvin Phillips good enough to stay? Quite a lot of people have been saying City should get Zubimendi as a backup to Rodri. But obviously if he's wanted by Barcelona as their number one, then, you know, he's not going to come City and play number two, is he? He's going to go Barcelona and be number one. Unfortunately. Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr are ready to make a considerable offer for Chelsea's Morocco winger Hakim Ziyech, who's 30 years old. That's from Foot Mercato. Yeah, I mean, Saudi moving mad, innit? Saudi moving mad, and Hakim Ziyech, he's going to leave the summer, innit? So, yeah, that makes sense. 30 as well. Career's not really took off at Chelsea. It's gone down a little bit, so maybe it's time to go and earn the cash from Hakim Ziyech. Juventus are in talks with Leicester City about signing defender Timothy Castagne from the Foxes, who want 15 million quid for the 27-year-old Belgium international. You know what? I actually like Castagne. I actually think he's a decent player. I don't think he's good enough for like a top 4 team. And he's probably not good enough for Juventus, but I don't think they finished in a top 4, did they? I don't know. Yeah, I think he's a good player. I do. I think if you're a team in mid-table, like a Brighton, like a Brentford, I think you could do a lot worse than getting Castagne in. Someone like a Newcastle, getting a bit of backup for Trippier. You know, I think he's a good player, and I think 15 million quid these days is a steal. Former Norwich City boss Daniel Farke is on the leading candidates to take over as the new manager of Leeds United following their relegation to the Championship. That's from the Telegraph. Yeah, I mean, obviously now there's a massive rebuild to be done at Leeds United. They need to have a proper think about the way forward now. Do they want to continue with the Bielsa ball? Do they want to go for high press? Because this is the thing. Playing a possession-based game like Manchester City and playing a high-press game like Liverpool is completely different. It's a completely different style of play. You can't just interchange it mid-season. Leeds now need to sit down and go, right, how do we want to play football? Is it long ball? Is it possession-based? Is it high-press? And just stick with it. But, you know, flip-flopping between two is never going to work. Manchester United and Tottenham In fact, let me go on this one. Manchester United and Tottenham are amongst the teams to have held talks with the representatives of Leeds United's Germany centre-back Robin Koch. 26, 90 minutes. That name, man. That name is unbelievable, by the way. Yeah, apparently he's highly rated. I mean, I didn't really see much of Leeds, guys. I can't lie, so I can't really go into too much detail on it. But apparently he's highly rated. And, of course, if United and Tottenham are in for him, that sort of backs that up. Tosin Coin, who's got the Tosin Coin? Fulham's English defender Tosin Adara Bayoyo is among the potential targets being considered by Tottenham. This would be brilliant for him. I'd be so happy for Tosin if he got a move to Spurs. Massive club. And yeah, that'd be just great, wouldn't it? It would be great for him. And I'd love to see this one. When you see ex-academy players just go shooting up like that, it's great. It really is. West Ham have submitted a loan offer for Liverpool's Fabio Carvalho, while Brentford and Burnley have also made inquiries about a temporary deal for the Portugal under-21s winger. Yeah, of course, Carvalho, formerly of Fulham, now at Liverpool, and obviously don't really play that much, so yeah, probably will be loaned out. That'd be a good move for him. Man United have begun talks with Manchester City in an attempt to sign Jack and Tyler Fletcher. The 16-year-old twins' sons of former Man United midfielder Darren Fletcher, who is technical director at Manchester United. Yeah, so a lot of people will probably know that there are a few ex-United players' sons who play in the City Academy because it's so clear. Darren Fletcher, clearly his two twin sons at City, and now they want to go United, or United want them, so we'll have to see on that one. But that is your daily transfer news. Not really too much going on there, other than maybe Caicedo. I think Kyle Walker's probably the biggest one. Let me know in the comment section below. You know what I mean? First of all, where's Caicedo going to play? What midfield will Chelsea deploy going into next year? And Kyle Walker, is he really going to leave?